Well, hello, everybody. I think we're going live. Yeah, I think it is. It's actually getting set up. Well, there you go. It's a perfect day in the neighborhood, and so we're excited about it. Thank you for tuning in. And it looks like to me is like, again, ladies, we're about a 30-second delay, but that's okay. If that's what they want to do, we can play the time travel game as well. Um, Jenny was there. What happened to Jenny? Did we lose her? Trina?
I think so.
No, I'm here. I'm here. I'm good.
We
Okay.
can't.
But
Oh,
Oh, there you
there's
go. Can
Grace.
we see her now? We
can
still
you
don't
see me?
see her.
Oh no, I'm here. I can
I
see
know you're
me.
here. This is weird. Can y'all hear her out there? Everyone in the
There she
chat
is. I
room?
see her. She just came up. There's a delay in her. Yep, I
There's
see
my
her now.
girl.
I see.
It's probably due to your whatever there you are. So we're good.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
I have no doubt that it's the Big Brother thing. But
They've had
anyway.
it all week. They've been on this shoulder all week. I've been like whispering into the phone so they
Yeah,
don't
it's
hear.
like Big
That's
Brother
funny.
sucks. But
Hmm.
anyway, we welcome y'all. We thank you for tuning in. You have a lot of places you can go, and we know that. So your presence is much appreciated. We speak favor over us all because favor acts as a shield, as a buckler. It's a strong force. Ladies, I don't know if you heard what happened to me over the weekend. It was like I got immersed into the soil. It was really weird, but anyway, we just
No,
speak.
Never mind. But anyway, tell me more.
It
I
was really
commented
strange.
on that, Wayne. I commented on that
Yeah,
because that I've had a similar. That is a radically awesome experience, and
trippy.
it's beautiful. It's like you go 360. You go into it like
Inside
you said,
out,
you're immersed into a
upside
whole different, and
down.
that's why I was like, I think that's the true meaning of as above, so below, is that oneness, feeling that connection universally into the roots of earth, all the way out into the vast consciousness of this universe. I mean, that's a
It's
really cool ride.
it was I touched the the peripheral. I mean, I didn't realize. Well, I never saw it to that extent, but there's a whole different actual reality that we walk upon, and we have no freaking idea how it works or when anyway. So let me just finish the favor thing. We'll just finish that because it's good. Nothing missing, nothing broken. We because that is peace that surpasses all understanding, and be of service to others. And finally, please, please, please be kind to your mind. So because if you're not, you get enough opposition out there that just loves to kick you when you think you're down. You just be kind to your mind, and your mind will just expand. Yeah. So, hello, ladies. How are y'all?
Hello.
Looking beautiful. Both of y'all,
Thank
just
you.
lovely goddesses that you are. And
Oh,
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
yeah, yeah, please do. I'm
Fall has
good.
arrived here early, just to let y'all know. Beautiful.
Really?
Yeah, it's like 71, 72 for the high. So yeah, really cool.
We're really warm. We're really humid.
Really?
Right. Yeah, yeah. So it's like 21 degrees still now in the evening. Um, but it's dark because they've clouded it so much. You can see the patterns in the morning. So it starts off sunny, and then it gets more and more humid after certain things have gone across the sky. So it's been really intense the last few days like that. So our humidity's I've forgotten what they said it was. It was something ridiculous. Um, so it's quite muggy.
Mm.
Ducks.
This time of year, it's really warm.
Haven't gone through the corn sweat. That just sucks. So I have great empathy and compassion, my dear. And then you got
Oh,
Trina who lives out in the freaking oven.
as if
Yeah.
I can talk.
How's your oven these days, Trina? I think you were telling me earlier that it's gotten a little less intense.
we were getting a little bit of the monsoon, and oh, it made a
Yes.
big difference. And
Yeah,
you
because
know,
y'all
we
didn't
have
get the
this.
monsoon this year, did you? Or at least what
Not
I
really.
understand.
We still have a little time, but yeah, we know we should have been getting a little bit more. We haven't been getting what we should be. But yeah, it's a great little reprieve. Even that 10 degrees is a big difference. You get a
Mm.
little more humidity from the moisture because it evaporates as soon as it hits. You know, it just
Mm.
releases. So yeah, but I'll take it. The clouds and a little rain. Oh, we needed it.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
continue to think, rain on Wayne because we could use it too.
Yeah.
we're going to manifest it. And this is what the
Okay.
title of today is,
Yeah.
is the power of unity of a group.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
Let's do it at the end.
what's that, sweetie?
Let's do it at the end instead of going
I
into
think,
the
you know
fall.
what? Yeah,
We'll go into a raindrop, you know, uh, and we'll all pull that raindrop down.
I believe that. I believe that. So
Mhm.
I have a question. Why is it? Because we're talking about unity of groups manifesting. And I had the strangest dream. I knew it was my spirit guide, but it was a really weird one. But here's what I was thinking. So you can go on to any YouTube feed, Facebook, they're all out there. And the number one thing that you will see most of is you have what I would call the fear and, the dread, everything is bad, everything is coming. And I was thinking to myself, why is it? Someone asked me about Dolores Cannon, and I said, all right, yeah, I've seen it. But I have that one thing to ask. Why is it that all these so-called prophets, prophetesses, um, why is it always bad news? And the thing about it is, and I'll just be honest, the vast majority of what I see a lot of time on other channels is that they're using the unified power, but they're using it to manifest fear.
Yeah.
This is coming from outer space, or this is going to be this, and I constantly see the videos that say, well, we were supposed to have 3 days of darkness in July, and now it's in October, and in the end, it shows and validates that when people come together in groups and they begin to focus in on this, um, they'll manifest it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
I mean,
spoke
that's what the
about it.
mainstream news tries to do, that they do a different type of fear indoctrination. But yeah, what do y'all say to that? I mean, why is it all where are the fucking prophets that come in and say, you know what? Tomorrow is going to be a brand new golden day. Your problems are going to go away. I see in the very near future where the crops will be bursting forth. You're going to have abundance. You're going to find healing. You don't find that. Sorry for the F bomb, but you don't have that. What you have is that, well, this is happening. Well, this was prophesied, and I'm going, so we are actually agreeing to this and manifesting.
There's a
Anyway,
kind
I'll
of
get off my soapbox. No, I won't.
there's a kind of duality to it though, in like you've just explained. But it's in the case of if there is the responsibility in this realm with the duality that we've caused here, the type of duality that we've caused here, that overlies our natural polar opposites, is that we do have to be conscious of what's going on because we can't just be in this fest of um, uh, pretending that it's not, but at the same time, finding that inner strength to be observant of what is without being of it. And like you say, being able to then go into that space and fully impact the words of love and strength and peace and wealth and abundance and happiness. Because a lot of people aren't ready to hear prophets who are just coming in with the good news when the good news doesn't seem to manifest in their lives because they're feeling the outside difficulties of the dualities that we've caused here. But at the same time, I spoke about how I fully feel we impact weather. I think when we're fiery, the sun fires off more of its flares. I really do. So, from the macro level, I think that's why we're caused to look upon things deliberately so, to sway, like you say, that unity, that manifestation, that power away from what would be, like Trina always says, love, empathy, peace, growth, all of those things. So, I think there's a reason prophets back off from uh, trying to just do one or the other. And when you're just doing one, I don't know
You
if you're
know what I
serving
have
the
seen in my lifetime where I've seen those who are in the office of the prophet, and those who do prophesy the abundance, the healing, the acceptance of love, every one of their ministries prospered. I mean, it was amazing to me when they started speaking this message, but the message was rejected by the whole, but it was the few that came in. And when I say a few, I mean, I'm talking, you know, 50, 60,000 attending these
Mhm.
rallies. That's the unity I'm talking about. Trina, I want to get your perspective on this because, again, why is it that those in the that talk about what's going to happen in future events, it's always negative. I mean,
You know,
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things that has been hidden from us in our history is the reset. So when you start to understand the wisdom of that potential, you start to understand that when you're seeing prophecy, most people are picking up on I think these resets, these great cyclical changes that the planet goes through. So I think that there's because that's a precursor. And then it seems in this cycle, this is the bifurcation that everybody's talking about. I think this is a big one. And energies are gonna go different paths. And you won't know when you jumped. Just like the Mandela effect, that appears to be evidence that we had a reality collapse and merge into another one. Like two realities that were existing on different timelines went into one. And I think this is the singularity that they speak of. These timelines are starting to collapse in on each other. And as that happens, you're going to have two very distinct energies when you get towards the end of it. So the cataclysms, that's going to be probably part of this, but the strength and the magnitude of it will be about what we believe and think and what we see.
Mhm.
So we can affect that. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I
there's
mean,
all
that's what they do. And, for all the way from Sunday school, all the way as you, particularly if you're in the Western culture, like here in the United States. And it's the prophecy of fear of this catastrophe that was used as a motivator to keep you engaged in the belief. And
Yeah,
in
that's part
essence,
of
we're
it.
basically feeding into that. So we, in essence, are helping to create it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I mean, could you not, could you go through an end, let's say a death to a new cycle and do that in peace, not in death, not in destruction? Is it possible that you can make that transition as smooth and it's just like feeling silk and it's wonderful. It's a beautiful experience. It's enlightening. And you look around and everyone else is experiencing it at the same time. I mean, does it always have to be terrible?
I don't think it is in other realms, but in the third dimensional realm, it might be part of, because this is an entropy system. The
Hmm.
entire system is entropic. So with that, this is a death, life, rebirth
But
planet.
if it's taught correctly that as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is, calling
Correct.
those things that be not as though they are, right?
Yes.
That um is it because to he who believes all things are possible. Doesn't matter
Hmm.
what you believe. It's that if you believe in something, it really has the possibility of coming to pass. I'm just wondering to myself, because does it always have to be, you know,
Wayne,
so?
It does until we believe it doesn't. And like you believe it could be different. I believe it could be different. If enough of
So are
us,
we going to be separated from the rest? I mean, you think of it, not
no,
just you and I metaphorically, but is it
no,
those?
I did see that these things would happen in pockets and waves. Some people would not be touched. I did see that. And I've been saying that for a long time. Everybody will not experience this the same way. It is going to look very different for so many people. And it's going to be depending on your location. You know, what is the immediate bubble of reality that you're in? So it's going to look very different for everybody. And
I keep
that
on seeing in my spirit eye that, yeah, I'll keep it to my, I know it, yeah, I see it though. I see that there's an alternative to this that I think you can literally step in from what we would call life into death and never miss a step.
There
I
is
sense
though,
that
because
when my
seen
time
that.
comes, my spirit will just, it will leave in peace. I'm in covenant with my body.
it will.
And the covenant that I have with my body says that when my spirit is ready to be released, it's not going to be one of fear. It's not going to be one of darkness. It's going to be a beautiful transition. And, you know, the spirit of my body will continue on, and I will then continue on my journey
I know my
Correct.
to the
granddad.
beach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to the
you
beach.
will, because that's what you
Yeah,
believe.
yeah,
So
yeah, it's true. Yeah,
your mental construct is your map.
yeah,
Yeah. I know my
yeah.
granddad had a very conscious passing, because he had two conscious passings. My mum was his main carer, and cared for him second to none. We moved in with him so we could care for him 24/7. Us, the whole family moved in to Granny's house. So it was a very close time for me because I was closest to granddad, but he was ready to go for a while, but he'd stressed mum out a few times by starting to transition when she was there. One time he knew she was on her own in the house and he didn't want that for her. So he consciously brought himself back and
Mhm.
talked himself out of the death spiral, because he knew that he didn't want that environment for her as his passing. You know, he wanted someone there for her. And he ultimately chose the time when the nurse, much like Lynn, came in and very wisely asked Mum for a cup of tea. First time she ever asked for one rather than being given one or offered one, because she saw, very trained like your Lynn, in my granddad's eyes, that he was ready to go. And he just wasn't going to do that to his youngest daughter, who'd cared for him. He was a soldier till the end, and he very much gave the command and the nod to her, and she said the words for him. So the moment Mum left the room, Grandad passed away. And he winked at the nurse. There was a very conscious decision that, okay, I'll be off now. You know,
Yep.
Yeah.
I know that you're here.
Mhm.
And he set it up for her in a way that he would have set up anything as a father in his life, if in the environment that she was in, and that she had people around her to hold, because she had been there 24/7 for over 8 months, and very close to him like I was, like I am. So there's definitely for some people, but he was great at his energy points. He was great at staying grounded. He was great at, like you say, when taking up the unified fight, going to the negative spaces like Parliament, but going with solutions that had to be heard. You know, things that, so he was going with people's plights. He was understanding and observing people's plights, but he was going with conscious obstruction and righteousness. And so you can channel from the, because we are covered at the moment in another hijack. And so you can channel things from this negative. It's like an energy pool that you can pull from if you do it correctly in an adept way, like he did, you know, in a conscious way, to say, okay, so there's a plight there. Let's take that to these words. Let's take that to this community structure. And I think that's what you're feeling, that that's so possible. It's right there on the other side of a pocket or a veil that somebody's trapped behind. of fear and negativity and
It's a
oppression.
constant battle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Give me one second.
possible though. That step into death, I've seen it in different ways, but that was the most impactful because I saw the days that he did it on, the times that he made sure it, the wink. It was absolutely conscious. So I really do. What you're feeling is I'm telling you I've experienced, I'm validating that I've seen it, that a very conscious man stepped in and out of death a few times until it
Yep.
was the right time.
Yeah, Lynn
Mhm.
has seen recently. I remember one individual that was waiting for his son. And
Yeah.
the minute his son walked through the door, he was gone. You know, and that's why I know it's possible because there was no trauma, there was no fear. Your grandfather was a very wealthy man to have family that would surround him during the transition because sadly there's not many there are way more people that die alone than die with, other souls around them.
You know what's so
But as
funny
a
though?
community service, he sat with people who were dying alone. So
Hmm.
you see, planted that seed and he got back.
Listen to this though. Our grandfather did not want to be with anyone when he died. He kicked
Yeah,
Nana out of the room for the first time in 50 years. He literally kicked her out of the bedroom. He knew he was going to die. He didn't want her to know. He freaked out, made a big fight with her, told her to go sleep in the other bedroom or sleep on the couch, but to get out of his room. She didn't even know what was going on. She
yeah.
just did it and went in there all confused, and he passed away. I was like, that is the meanest thing. And I was trying to tap in. I'm like, why'd you do that? You know what he said to me?
What's that?
I couldn't leave with her by me. I couldn't leave with
Yeah.
her in the room.
Oh,
I needed to go. I needed her to go. And I knew it was my time, but I couldn't leave with her next to me. I had to make her go. I was like,
Well,
oh my God.
and that's so
it's
I,
his
beautiful.
choice.
yeah,
We all face that path. But the
in your
vast majority of
own
people
way.
that Lynn
Yeah.
deals with, they want family. They
Yeah.
seem to,
Most do.
yeah. And
It
maybe
was a
your grandfather
super.
was just, that
No,
was,
he was such a family guy too. That was the worst confusing part about it. He was like the one, that was Ginger. I mean, he was the one. He was the one who kept everybody together. So, yeah, that was very interesting, but he couldn't do it with her in the room. It was compassion. It was like, I can't leave her. I can't leave her. But if I can't see her, if she's not in the room, that's my only chance. It was one of
and that
those.
was his perspective. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's right or wrong. I mean, it
Yeah,
was his
the way he
choice.
saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah,
And think she was still in the room because from what you described, there was love there. So
oh
that love
gosh,
was in
yeah,
the home and in the room, and your nana's
yeah,
vibe was in the room with him still. So,
yeah,
like Wayne said, he has the love was surrounding him
oh
like
yeah,
you were. That's
yeah,
beautiful, Teresa.
many different ways to
Fine.
approach it.
yeah.
Hello, everybody in the chat room. Got a full group going there, and welcome everybody. So, again, it gets back into this discussion on the power of unification. And there's many different ways to unify, and I think that we can do it as well on the other side. I mean, this channel, we think a lot on this because eventually every one of us are going to be making that trip. Every
Right.
one of us. And we've known a lot of people in this group that have made the transition, some unexpected, some expected.
Hmm.
And it is interesting that in a sense, there's still a unifying tie. And this is what I find so, in one way, it's awesome and very interesting, is that I think that we actually have a soul tribe that exists in two different planes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because if conscious is truly transferable, they didn't leave this behind. And I have seen it in my own travels in the astrals that, well, I've seen a couple of people that They have their own thing going on, but they're very much yet tied to the progress of this group. And there is a core group within this group that, believe it or not, we're growing and transitioning as a group. And it's
Mhm.
going to be interesting to see because if we can speak it, if we can think it, if we can debate it, if we can pontificate it, then that tells me that we can create it.
Mhm.
And it
We've
is
got
Yeah.
the
whatever
core.
that is.
Yeah.
What about if you started off from the baseline, but it's not actually the baseline, it's a transition line of an end and a beginning, like a butterfly. What if it was the baseline of, you know, how that you have like the rights that you have, the I've forgotten the words for it, the uh, I haven't got it. Constitution. You know, like there's a bill there of certain things that take priority. Things like you've just spoken about is that what if every aspect of our lives we tried to apply death as a wondrous, beautiful thing? As so even in when we're speaking to the food, going back to things like that isn't a bad thing, not attaching it to anything outside of self, but speaking to your food that has died in one way or the other, plant or animal life, to be on the plate. You speak, and we've lost a lot of that because we've been so shunned away from religion. But those kinds of things are powerful and don't belong to religion. They're an honoring of a death and a new beginning where your cells make a whole new mini being in their own right. So, what if death was worshipped again? The very thing they've desperately tried to make us frightened of, i.e., witches worshipping death in black cloaks. What if everything that we come across each day we revere in its death, wherever that is, you know, whether it's food, whether it's a person around us, uh, whether it's a death of a cycle. What about if we had some paramount pillars of not commandments, but guidances of how you would revere death
You know,
and a new.
in my book that I'm writing my notes in, because my whole inner view has changed. I am convinced, and I'm convinced of this from all the Bible training and all the training in ministry and everything else. You see, I think they hijacked the story of this character. I don't know if he existed or didn't exist. I don't know if Buddha exists. I didn't know if Muhammad existed. But here's my point. The ones in control, they took the story because, I could see a cat walking over the countryside and saying, "Hey, folks, let me just tell you how that really is. You're in death right now. You think you're alive, and I'm here to tell you, and I'm here to show you a path that'll get you out of this death realm so that you can actually go back to life again."
Yeah.
Now, I don't need sin. I don't need redemption. I don't need
Oh,
forgiveness. What I
Mhm.
no,
need to know is I need to affirm that what I sense in my spirit is in fact true, and I am convinced that this is the death realm. I'm dead. I'm fucking dead. I am
step into.
waiting to be fucking born. I want to get out of this death realm. Sorry, but that's how intense I feel about it. And I become more convinced. It may be my philosophy when I leave. R. Wayne Steiger was telling us this is the fucking death realm. Wake up,
You
folks.
know, what if basically you are like a ghost in a machine?
I
I
am.
think yeah, that's what I think about. I'm like I see your perspective
I'm
so
a residual
accurately.
energy of the true self of who I am. I want out of this
That's
fucking
what
place.
yeah,
Excuse
I'm
me,
feeling
folks,
the
but
same way. I'm feeling the same way, Wayne.
thank you,
I'm
sister.
feeling it.
I ain't gonna shout you down because you're preaching good, you
Yeah,
know.
I'm feeling you, buddy. I'm feeling you. It's like, what is
It's
it,
like I
Wayne?
feel your pain, brother.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm like,
Uh,
oh, oh, yeah,
Bonnie says, "Well, I don't feel that
Time.
way." That's okay, you know. It's
yeah.
like, but that's what I am. You can't prove to me in a debate that this is life.
You know, when I
No
was
way.
3 years
This is
old, I
not
used to
life.
bounce back and forth from the two planes.
Yeah.
So I know, I don't think, I
I was
know.
gonna, yeah. I
I
was gonna say as
know.
well, it's not, why would it be fixed as well that, like you were
Right.
saying, when we're looking at positive things, wow, there's actually more positive things happening than negative, which is why
Mhm.
they've got to push the negative so hard to get people with that red root chakra all churned up. But what if like Trina says, because I know that bouncing around, but the the fact that this place doesn't have to stay the death realm, that if there was enough unity in thought of reverence for life, stroke, death, i.e., being one and the same thing and transitional, depending on the focal point of the micro, the one person to the many, and the macro. What if you can jump out of that? But it's so frustrating to you, Wayne, because not enough people will do it. Not enough people will just try it. Not
Mhm.
enough people will just say it, and admit that, okay, I've been in death. Can I step into life without even leaving this physical body yet? I think that's possible,
I think
but
it's
it takes
possible.
that unity of thought.
What if the whole death thing is just an illusion because you think you're real, but it's not death. It's just an experience. But to have the experience in this reality, in this realm, you have to have a body. So you take on a body for a time, and then when the time is over, you leave the body. It can be early, it can be later, and you can go out a million different ways. So, when you can see it as, okay, my consciousness was powerful enough to come from spirit into matter. And when you were talking about, Wayne, the whole, can we change things? All these prophecies. I'm like, yeah,
I
when
think we
you can
can.
bring spirit into matter, you really can, and you can. So yeah, that's how we're made of the same stuff. So creation, we're made of the same stuff. I think we could have created our bodies with our thought. So you had an idea before you came in here what it would look like, what it would be like, the experiences basically you might have. So when you look at this as a learning tool, it opens up the field to a much greater potential. You start to not to hate the place so much. You start to understand its purpose and its function. And yes, it's an entropy system. So here, everything wants to feed on your energy if you let it, because everything wants a hit, like a dopamine hit. It's the way we're programmed. So when you start to understand the game, you can start to see the rules. And like you're figuring it out. We can affect the game. Yes, we can.
If it's a
Well, yeah,
game,
we
then
can.
every game, someone made the rules.
Yes,
It's
yes.
like, uh, and a lot of times, what we speak here, we speak just merely in seeing many things from many different perspectives. And then no one perspective is, in fact, I think, an absolute belief. It seems to be malleable as to what reality is to
Well,
one's
we've looked a
mind.
lot at the hermetics, how things actually manifest on a quantum level, cause and effect, all these different laws, electromagnetism and magnetism, positive, negative. We're learning how this is actually working on a subconscious level, which would be the quantumness of what we're existing in.
Did you see the quote I wrote from oh, I don't see it here, which is a shame because it was dealing with the fact in quantum mechanics that truth is not really known yet. It's they can't find it. They can't find it in science. They can't find it in how they look at the universe, and that's odd because if you can't find truth in science, and if science can't find truth, then that's really weird because then what is truth?
Well, what if they can't find truth because truth is an invisible substance of source, and source cannot be measured, just like it's hard to measure
Limited.
love and it's hard to measure breath. These are just these are things that are very outside of measurement
You see, this
abilities
is why I
because
think the
they're
internet is
deep.
messing with us because I believe at one time we knew what truth was. We've lost it.
Mm-hmm.
I, I,
But
I don't know if here with amnesia, if we could have ever known truth.
Well,
That,
that's a good
that,
point. And if you have
yeah, I don't
amnesia,
know
then
about
how
that.
would you know truth?
Right. That I
How
don't
would you
know.
know a lie?
Right. I don't know.
Because the lie could be the
I don't
truth and
know.
you wouldn't know. I
I
mean, that's
don't
the
know.
problem with dualism, is that we get into the trap that if there is a positive, there has to be a negative. But what if there's another dimension where neither exist, but yet both are evident?
I
That
think
would
that
be the
potential is
balance.
here.
Yeah. Balance divine feminine and masculine within one being can reflect a
But
truth that
that's
is
our
so true.
problem, Jenny. This realm, this reality, this world, we've lost the divine feminine.
We've gone
I mean,
to,
what I
yeah,
see today in this whole trans gender thing, and I'm asking myself, well, now where's the womanhood?
Mhm.
We're degrading the feminine in here. And I know that this is uh, you know, not supposed to be, I don't give a fuck on people's agenda. I'm just simply saying that until this world brings back the divine feminine and restores her to her rightful place of honor, I think we're just going to constantly, and if it's a cycle, I believe one day she will be returned. I believe that humanity will wake up to its foolishness and restore and not get the masculine completely removed, but it's time to bring it down a few notches.
She
It
hasn't
needs
Not a
to
actually
few,
gone
balance.
a
anywhere,
lot.
but there's laws here that bring her
Yeah.
down. It's a reflection of me and Trina and the women in the chat. There's laws here that are literally put against women that aren't put against
Yes.
men. There are laws that limit our autonomy. So it's actually a hijack of a male species of a very few that have managed to get into power to create this. The divine feminine has never left. She lives
Mm-mm.
within me. She lives within Trina. She lives within the women in this chat. I feel her when I look at the trees. I feel her when I touch the ground. I feel her when I put the copper on. She's here, but she's not being revered. She's here so much that they have to work so hard, Wayne, 24/7 to make sure that the thing that reflects her most in physical form here is put down, is held in
And
place, is
what is
made
her
to be done. That's how much she's still here because they've got to work so hard to put this propaganda in place, agendas in place,
Well, they're just
laws in
promoting,
place. Yeah,
inequality. Listen, if you and
inequality.
I were on the beach, I can go shirtless, you can't.
Mhm.
Exactly.
I mean, so
Exactly.
right there, until we begin to change these perverse views of the female body, there never will. And then, I like how these far people have come in with the DEI. I'm going, well, let's talk about womanhood.
Hmm.
Show me the equality that we had, and it's not here. I do
It's
agree
not
with you that the divine feminine is here, but she is so ignored as though she doesn't exist.
stifled, not just ignored. She's distorted and
Trina, are you still
twisted.
there? Okay.
Yeah,
She's
I look at the divine feminine, the first place that my mind goes is this is the subconscious field, and this is why there's so much chaos in the world, is because people don't have any understanding of what's truly happening underneath. It's just like you, Wayne. You went
Mhm.
into the underneath and you saw how it's connected to the odds above. People need to do this in their own body. The divine feminine is so powerfully present if people would just listen to it and connect to it. And that means going into your subconscious mind. And,
Yeah.
most people don't do the inner work. And, it's like meditation, prayer, all these things are what connect you to those frequencies. And another thing I've been looking at a lot is, it's just like the suppression of the feminine. The other problem I see is worship. I come all of it. It's the problem. It's such a big problem. My God's better than your God. Worshiping. Why do you need to worship outside of yourself? If you're a part of creation, your job is to do creation. It is not to worship outside of yourself. It is to be an aspect of that which you honor and you wish to
true.
cooperate with and you wish to unite with and be in cohesion.
Yeah.
This is the true property of worship. If you were to give honor and worship to a god, that means you would be taking on their mission, their attributes, to be that for the world. Just like, the whole Christ example. It was an example to show you what to do, not to say worship. It was
Mhm.
no, do it.
Again,
Don't
I'm right there with you.
do it.
The problem that we have, again, and this is why groups, if we discuss issues like this and everyone gets their point of view, and it has a tendency to unify and bond because the division of thought or positions become dissolved into it's merely one stepping stone upon the other.
Yes.
It all leads to a path.
And it all goes to the same place.
It
When you
does. Yeah.
get to the highest top part of the pyramid, it's all one. So, it's like when we can really understand oneness, then you understand the present moment now. These are all keys we've been talking about, but we're really not utilizing them in a focused fashion. And when we start to do that, things are going to move. They
Yeah, I believe that.
will.
And I
I
love
know.
these discussions, you know. They're esoterical, they're philosophical, and they're ideological. But you know, that's the thing about it. It's like I have all the books, you can read all the books, but I want us to write our own story, not
Yes,
his
I want us
story,
to
our own
do
story.
our own story. I want to do it. I want to
Yeah,
create a fantasy, winning, beautiful, loving situation that's like, yay, we did it. I am on board with that. That's fun.
it is fun. I love to create, you know. I love manifesting. You know,
Me
to me,
too.
it's just it's cool. It's like and I have a sense that we've done this already, and you know, and it's really weird. It's like, all right, there's a lot of theories that say that, you know, we have already died. And this is something that all of us are projecting, and it's odd how it all comes mixing together. Sounds
Yeah.
cool to me. I mean,
No, I wonder too, like I said, when you go through these resets of these big ages, I saw this separation of the two worlds over and over again in different ways, different metaphors. So trying to put all that together, because the first vision, full-blown vision I had, I was 10. Didn't know anything about this wing. Nothing. There was no way. There was just not
were you a
anywhere in
skinny
my.
kid?
No, kind of a little, kind of the same as I am now, but a little bit more stocky because I was more gymnast and a soccer player and, riding a dirt bike every day. So,
I picture you as a tomboy. I just got to tell you,
yeah,
both you and Jenny
yeah.
both.
So what
I
if
was a
this
tomboy
is this
in a
sorting
dress.
of so what if we're sorting the soul's path right now? There's paths of soul's evolution, and this is the great sorting. They talk about the wheat and the chaff. It's all allegory for what's really happening on a cellular level. As above, so below. As within, so without. It's micro,
So
macro.
who's running the above? That's what I want to know. And who's
I
running the
think
below?
consciousness is running
It's
all of
looking.
it.
That's the problem. Nobody in this realm, and not enough people anyway, are looking to who's
Yeah.
running it because we are, like Trina says, we are all hooked into that in the above and the below. But we're letting goons run round here, running roughshod over all of us. With using old stories, like Trina said, to bring about a manifesting ending that has to be so despicable, to bring us such an enlightened time to come when that's unnecessary. Like you say, awful death is unnecessary. An awful transition is unnecessary. So yes, we're running the show, but we're not looking because those goons have got us looking just in the 3D here and just trying to paddle to exist here rather than live here. So we are running the above and the below, Wayne. We're just not at the wheel enough.
As you were talking, Jenny, I was drawn to the fact that there is a an expression um, in the New Testament, Paul particularly, where Paul was a wizard. This guy, he knew stuff that anyway. Um, there's a debate, in many theologies that Paul was the one who invented Jesus.
Mhm.
There's a whole lot in there. But anyway, as you were talking, I got this sense that was like there is this group that looking into the looking glass and it's looking down on us. And they're using their mind to affect us down here. And once they can get a group going in a particular direction, they have a tendency to intensify that to where we're constantly being pulled by these other thought beings. And I contend the internet, as we were
Rivers of
talking,
frequency. You
what's that,
saw
sweetie?
rivers of
Yeah,
frequencies going out over
yeah,
to the internet,
yeah.
causing streams and rivets. But if you think about Facebook, we've been sleepwalking. You look at this, I just learned that they actually set up metadata for children that you've only shared one picture of, or children that you haven't even had yet, because they've been watching everything we've been doing so much more than has been said. So we're not just dealing with these beings looking from above at us as per in the spiritual world, we really have been having a physical being sense of a looking glass looking over us and predicting a whole new Akashic record of where they've already got a profile set up for my boys, even though my boys aren't on Facebook, never have been. But in the early days, I was naive enough to share pictures of them with people on my friends list. So they, from the biometrics to the everything, they have created this other layer that you're picking up on, Wayne, that is intensive.
So think about this, ladies.
Mm.
The one thing that I when I came out of Christianity is particularly when worship was taking place. And if you can look at that through the occult eyes, it's powerful. And my
Mm,
point is, it says that God inhabits the praise of his people. So the point is, we have this thing called the internet, and this internet requires complete surrender to it. You get an IP address, and then once you're on the internet, I am convinced that the internet is controlled by gods, not humans. Humans can't handle the amount of data that is being channeled into, and now with these new data centers, it's like we're seeing the evolution of the gods. Now they're going to require great amounts of power, energy, to the extent that when you feed them this power, this thing will take. Do y'all see where I'm going with this? I mean, to me, it's infested. It's
even the
Yeah,
water,
call me
the
crazy.
demand
That's all
for water.
right. You would have to stand in line, but but I see that. I sense it. It's like I'm holding y'all's hand, and we're up to this thing where it's like this raw power. You can feel it. You don't dare touch it because
What if
it's
that's the bifurcation? The consciousness is literally plugging into a new metaverse.
mm,
And then
interesting.
yeah, and then eventually they're going to somehow expire on this planet reality for those who do not go into the metaverse and stay more in the this could be a metaverse we're already existing in. There's a lot of debate on that topic, but to stay
Mm,
more present where you are and stay more organic instead of going the different route.
Mm.
So what if this is the bifurcation? It's where do you plant your consciousness? That's where you're going to go.
Yeah, I think they know us. I think that's
Oh,
why we
I'm
get sometimes
absolutely.
the issues that comes up. It's because if we went with the mainstream, everybody's on TikTok, how many views and how many things. And for me, it's like I love the opportunity of being within this matrix because it's allowed me the opportunity to meet others like myself.
Yeah.
I would have
Yeah.
not had the ability to connect.
Yes.
And
Eternally
now,
grateful for that. I
yes,
do have a lot of gratitude. So
I,
much
I
gratitude.
just want this group to where we'd be known as a group that creates. We don't have a million subscribers. We don't need them. They're a
No.
distraction. The last time that we tried to do our private group thing, the reason why we didn't go through with that is that it happened again. There's always a conflict that comes up within. And as a result of that, you can't go forward, particularly in the astrals, with internal conflict and those who try to bring conflict. You can't do that.
No, 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 no.
And, so I said, well, let's stop that. Let's try to unify the group. And maybe it would like, we've done this before. We've built a
Well,
forest.
yeah,
Mhm.
remember the problem that I saw was there wasn't a focus of what are we doing. That was, I thought, the biggest issue with that whole group thing is there really wasn't a lot of focus. And I think that when working in the group homes, when you start seeing children, you start to realize, well, like, especially when they're learning something new, they need to know the boundaries, they need to know the rules, they need to know it's safe. And you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
with that not being in place, that's why it went into utter spirals of chaos because everybody was imagining their own thing, going their own way. There's no cohesion when you do that. There's no the group is not aligned in intention and thought focused. If there's not that, if it's not pinpointed, and it can expand from the intention, but it's so tricky, as you well know, Wayne. So we this was, well, like I said, but that was what I saw, that the initial barriers and obstacles that we were facing was because of that. If we tried something a lot simpler, like to just focus on healing the water and primarily focusing on it in the human vessel, but to all things it touches, but working on the self, because when you can heal you and learn how to heal you, other people around you are immediately affected by that in your immediate DNA and bloodline. So this is how I think the work is truly has to be done. It really has to be internal, because I do think that's going to be the biggest effect on the outside, because now we're talking mama.
Yeah. I just know as a group that it can be done. I mean, in my
Me
back in
too.
the 80s, I was involved with a group of lawyers and other individuals, and we got involved in EST. And I found the EST training to be um, particularly interesting. And as I look back on these encounters, what I'm trying to say here, there is this force in it, and it's right out there. It's this that, and the time I've seen it being most activated is when you have the intensity of focus, Trina, on exactly what it is that we're looking. In this case, where Est was concerned, it was about becoming rich. And, you know, people did get rich,
Of
got
course.
really rich, because we tapped in, and I've repeated this cycle in my life many times. And there is an entity, it actually is alive, that it controls money.
Oh yeah.
Folks, if you don't believe it, that's fine. But I can tell you, and I'll stand up right in your face and tell you that you're wrong. There is an entity that controls money. And if you tap into it, and it's very interesting because I have seen this, the spigots start flowing. But when the group divides, that's when I've seen the spigot stop.
Because there's not enough energy going into the thought to kick the money out of the spiritual bank into the physical bank. Because
Paul
apparently,
Joe said Est has a narcissistic overtone. Any type of groups have a narcissistic overtone. You're separating yourself from the whole, and but anyway, Paul Joe, you're right. People do get they have gotten very rich. It's just like, the days. Did y'all ever get involved in Herbalife? Anyone out there?
yeah, my aunt did.
Yeah, multi-level marketing.
Yeah,
Back in
she
the
did good
day.
with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
The interesting thing about those groups, I knew the founders of Herbalife, and
Mhm.
again, and it's the same time when I have sat with Paula White or with Kenneth Copeland or with these other people. It's that same It's the same spirit. It's the same God.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it
Yeah.
is. I think it's the part of the system of the beings that control the planet. There is a specific energy consciousness that literally is the responsible entity from transferring energy into money.
yeah, yeah.
And I literally do think that is real.
Brian Tracy, if any of all ever listened to Brian Tracy, he was one of my mentors, and it's the same thing with Earl Nightingale. Yeah, and that's what I want to see for this group here. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to see anyone, having to suffer or to, you know, because we don't have to.
Mhm.
Anyway, I'll shut up now.
I think you're right. Like I said, Wayne, I see a lot of changes coming, but it won't be everywhere and it will be in pockets and in places, and that's going to depend on the consciousness. But to help this planet go through this transition, to help everybody go where they're supposed to go, because it's not about right or wrong. I think that's another thing that we're pushing up against is what's right and what's wrong and how do we know truth. It's like I don't know that there really is going to ever be a truth, and a truth that everybody can say, oh, that's truth, because nobody's ever going to see everything the same way. I don't think that will be something that can be reached with the consciousness of so many different fractals of source experiencing themselves as a part of that. That's why we all have to be different.
We do.
So yeah, so I'm starting to see the puzzle and how it's working, but the effect that we have on reality, you're right, it's much bigger than we know. And when we
Yeah,
can
and
start
money
to
is not
apply,
everything. I'm seeing some of the comments in here.
yeah,
No, 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 folks. It's listen, we're in a reality, well, unfortunately, that's how it works here.
it does.
And I got to tell you, I've been broke and I've been really wealthy, and I can tell you the other part is much better than being broke.
Right?
Because if you want to help causes or ideas, you have the opportunity to do that. But I know
Hmm.
there's many different beliefs on how that can be done, but anyway, we'll just stick to changing the weather, okay?
Like
I
I
get
said,
you.
that isn't that the hardest part is finding lots of people to be in the same resonance, wanting the same thing. It's very challenging sometimes because there's so many different perspectives.
Mr. McCall, yeah, the place existed for a billion years without money came along, but as soon as humans came along, we invented money. We invented exchange, whether it was
What if
barter, you know.
what if that came in with what they call the Great War in Heaven?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I
if you
do, I
believe
don't,
Genesis 6, they taught
yeah,
us
I
how
think,
what they taught
yeah,
you women how to wear bosoms and how to put the makeup on to seduce the men, how to use the eye as a form of magic to entrap the man. I mean, you paint the eyes and it suddenly begins to have a so if they knew and apparently the God of the Bible, he likes being rich. It says that he owns all the gold and all the silver and all the cattle. So
yeah,
I'm just
it's
saying,
true.
Michigan Joe, that's all.
Mhm.
Um, I do know a little bit about money. I do. It's then a two payment system. So it's odd how it works for humans. We've always had this thing of, let's just say if the three of us were back a million years ago, think about that.
That's what I wonder.
Yeah.
And man, I wonder because a lot of people have
I
tapped
think
into,
women ruled the world back then, but that's just me.
I
that was
do
the
too.
first religious symbol ever found on the
It
planet was
was
a divine
exactly.
feminine.
It is. Yes.
Yeah, and I do. I think that was because it gave birth to all matter, and I think they understood that the father was more sky principle, which was more air, invisible, and mother was no the physical manifested part. So they, the spirit gave creation to the matter to be formed from matter. So they saw that relationship. Somehow that got squashed, and the female took the hit, But I think that's when everything might have changed. As they talk about, they say the serpent entered in the garden. I think wonder too. I wonder it was at the Great Wars, and many people call them the Orion Wars. So,
I think
it's
when man came along, he screwed up the whole mess. I mean, we brought war. Yeah.
I don't know if that was us.
Well, if it wasn't us, then we're imitating them to a pretty good
I
degree.
think I think we got mutated with
Oh,
their genetics, many, 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 many hundreds of thousands of years ago, potentially. So that could be the serpent entering into the garden, could be a complete allegory for DNA.
I'm still
No.
trying to find out what my true name is.
Why?
It's an echo, Wayne. It's an echo, and you don't really want to transmit that too loudly because
Oh,
I don't want to
I
repeat
know,
Yeah.
what
ladies. I know.
I was like,
It's
why?
called sardonic humor, you know?
well, I don't like it.
Lighten up,
No.
folks. Come on now. You can't
Why?
get
Wait,
too
Why,
bogged down
Wayne?
in this, you know?
I was just thinking
Jeez,
there though,
yeah.
right? What if this whole thing started where, we speak about giantesses all of the time in esoteric knowledge, the giantess goddesses that walk different lands with different names. Imagine if it all got messed up because it was actually not Nephilim, but giantess goddesses that decided to mate with very cute little men here, and all of a sudden some amount of them got peed off enough to take all the stories and make the giants the men, and have this whole enforcing nature over women. Can you imagine? I bet that's true. I haven't dug into it spiritually yet, but I'm going to lay claim to that. The giantess goddess has probably pissed off enough men by choosing to mate with the cute, cuddly men that are on the ground rather than the other way round. Then they distorted and twisted all. What if that's all it is? What if what if that's all
Jenny,
it
the
takes
visuals
to get
behind
that
that
way?
are just, that would be X-rated. I
Entertaining.
mean, for this, just saying.
I'm imagining men being thrown
Oh,
like juggling giantess goddesses actually using their mouth. But yeah,
there's a joke
so
I could say, but not in this, not in mixed company. So
can you imagine though? Could be true.
Everything's
the
upside down
visuals, I'm
backwards,
telling you,
so it
just
could be.
make it up for
Exactly.
yourself, folks. Come on.
Yep.
I'm going with that. I'm going with that.
I'm going with it too.
Yeah, who is who in the
Like it's
crazy world of
Oh, laughter doeth the heart is good medicine. I love this group. And nothing is actually firm on anything. So, Jenny, pull us a couple of cards as we get out of
okay.
this.
Get out of the visuals.
Seriously, Jenny, I got some, I mean, the imagery.
Uh-huh.
Either puts a different spin on it, though.
I think I'm getting where the Mound of Venus came from now. I get it. I get it.
You see,
Yeah.
it's like a slide.
When you guys are saying that, I kept seeing that big goddess mountain. Have you guys seen the picture of that sleeping goddess?
Yes, the
The
King
full
Goddess.
mountain
Yeah,
range?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I kept seeing in my mind. I was like, wow. I could totally see that that was a real woman.
And then I'm hearing
Yeah.
Michael Franks in the background, and Eggplant is the song. Listen to it. It's funny. It's a good
Okay,
song.
so we've got the
Talks about the Brazil and your Panama, and I
hmm.
like to reach those mounds that stand too tall.
Oh, yeah.
Eggplant.
The Trinity.
Wow.
It's true. I mean, Michael Franks looking in that, you can see it. Yeah,
Just saying.
it's true. I mean,
It's true.
it just works that way.
So we've got we've got the Four of Chalices on the bottom of the deck. So this would be speaking of, so this underpins the energy of what you've been saying, really, Wayne, of there's grandeur and huge amounts of abundance here and ways of enjoyment. but actually there's something you're not seeing. You're not getting this extra cup from the sky, this extra layer of emotional intelligence or fulfillment to see that there is another way. So it's distracted through the emotions a lot of the time. Um, We've then got the King of Chalices, which would be the King of Cups. So he's lifting up these cups here in unity. Now, the King of Chalices, he really does, in his upright position, use his powers of navigation of the emotional field. Is a feeling, empathetic, uplifting guy. He's lifting up literally the living waters of the divine feminine element. So he's lifting it up in a balanced way and revering it for what it is, that it contains the amount of anything that he needs, because he can imprint his emotional intent and purpose in a balanced way. That's the upright King of Cups in many scenarios. So then you get the death card. Huh? So the death card, which you've been speaking about a lot in the show, speaks of that creating the space for transition and growth, an ability to navigate through the physical via the emotional, using it as a wave, as a frequency to carry you into full transition. Then that brings the Six of Cups. So it's all cups with the Death card in the middle, the major arcana. So the Six of Cups shows these generations of women sharing ways of doing things, sharing ways of knowing things about the elements of nature, how to cook, how to provide, how to be abundant and fruitful. And that's all held within our waters, within our DNA. It's all imprinted in on us. But there sometimes has to be a depth to the exterior and the interior sometimes in order to remember who you are and remember where you came from, not in the just last few years, last few decades, but the ancient waters that are carried through this space. So that's
All
for
cups.
going forward. All cups.
That's odd.
Emotion, divine
Haven't
feminine,
seen that.
but very
Yeah.
masculine as well. It's a feminine reading, so it's all cups, but it's with that masculine, like you said, balanced masculine energy, except for the underpinning energy of this slovenly guy, a bit too big for his boots, watching all these women dance for him. He's the one not seeing the truth of the emotional balance of the revered king here, who literally he's got a shawl of an animal carrying the spirit of the leopard, I think. But is holding it up again. The cat, the woman, the divine feminine, is holding her as a shawl. He's not trying to implant her energy with masculine energy, but divine masculine energy, stroke feminine energy.
If the guy when the Six of Cups was smart, he'd been out there dancing with the girls. That's all
In
I
the
got to
Four of
say.
Cups, yes, he would be,
Yes,
but he'd
I'm
roll. He'd roll
yeah.
because he's been so greedy looking at all of these things. Like the distorted female has to perform for him when he's got a whole frequency in a cup, in a chalice of exploration that the king's looking at. So choose your path.
He should have heard about Saturday Night Fever. It would have changed his whole perspective. That's all I got to say. Staying alive. That's all. That's all I got to say, folks. All right, we're going to just party ourselves right on out of here. Love y'all. Boy, so many. There's Jules. It has to be what, 5 o'clock in the morning down there in Australia, dear.
I love
Um,
her.
Me
yes, we
too.
love Jules so much. Susie, good to see everyone. And seriously, we talk a lot of stuff. We debate, we think, we create, and we're all still searching. And that's
Yeah.
what makes it well worth. So love everybody. Love you too. It's always fun
Love
here.
you
I mean,
too.
I mean, I gotta say, Jenny, I'm going to have to rethink the whole giant woman thing. It's with the little
Telling you, there
man.
feels like there's truth to that. And when I usually get that pang in my spirit of there's truth to that, there's usually
Well,
truth to that.
you know what else I keep
I'm
seeing
running with it.
of that, Jenny? All the Egyptian, they have they're holding humans in their hands.
True
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
little
You
people.
know, you get all the
And
little people running
imagine,
around with their
can
little
you imagine how
sticks.
cross some of them would have been getting in the caves? They'd have been looking at these women when all these sensible men were taking the adoration and loving it. There'll have been these tiny little groups of people in the caves getting upset because their feelings were hurt because they couldn't climb the goddess and they
Yep.
couldn't get onto her hand. And they've thought, right, okay, guys, we're going to twist this, we're going to turn this, we're going to
Mhm.
distort this, put the goddess to sleep. We're going to do all of this. I can imagine that's probably the only, like, if you're talking about finding a purpose to stay on a goal so a group doesn't go all spiraling out of control, wanting their own bit of everything put
Yeah.
into it, then
Yeah.
there is nothing more truthful to me in my
Yeah.
ear right now than a group of men in a small cave getting peed off because they couldn't climb the tree.
And with that, folks, we bid you a farewell and we'll see each other. I won't be on tomorrow. I got things I got to do. We're getting some construction will be going on everywhere. But anyway, hope to see you all on Thursday. Thank you, ladies. I'm gonna have
Thank
to rethink
you.
this, the visuals. Uh, just